guys, welcome back. This is the Above Average FPL podcast. My name's Adam. It is the 23-24 season opener, joined by Baker, as always. How you doing, mate?
4 seasons.
4 seasons.
Four,
We go again. Let's go.
4 seasons.
Yeah, mate.
This didn't feel like we'd get to 4 seasons.
It's been an adventure. It's been a lot of fun. So, but yeah, here we are. Price reveals today. So, obviously we're going to talk about all of that. Let's say hello to everyone in the chat. Chat is hyping up, which is good. Let us know what you think of tell us, is the sound all right? Yeah, I'm assuming everything's good. And let us know what you think of the new intro, the new graphics. Let us know if you love the new graphics. Just let us know in the chat, because the guy that did the graphics is in the chat. So and he'll know. So yeah, let everyone know what that looks like. And yeah, I guess
Well,
how have your 4 weeks off been, mate?
weekends are weird, aren't they? There's going to be people that see this thumbnail and get into this and think, oh, FPL, yeah, I'm on that this year. I'm winning my mini league. I've never been involved in it. Get out now. Like these last few weeks, you're like, oh, I've got no stress on the weekend. I do have to do quite a bit of family stuff, which is not always ideal. But yeah, you're like, there's just no stress, is there? You're not looking at your phone all the time, checking for team news. You're not worried about the deadline. You're not thinking about transfers, price rises, all that stuff. We got 5 weeks, 6 weeks. This is the enjoyment time now. This is the bit that's good. This is literally the only bit that's good. These next 5, 6 weeks, we're all on the same rank. We can all speculate and do all the stuff we need to do. It's going to be fun.
We can all confirm we're locked in like 20 days before we should be. We're all gonna watch some mid-range striker score 4 goals in a friendly, jam him straight in the team, guaranteed. There's going to be injuries that are going to throw us out, and yeah, Jan saying yeah, happiest period for Spurs fans. I agree. Yeah, this is the nicest period for Spurs fans. So
we have hope. We can have hope at this point. Hope in FPL, hope in Tottenham. It's all going to be good.
Oh man.
And then it goes.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I mean, and obviously, like as you say, checking the phone is one thing, but then like for me, sitting down on a Saturday night, going right now, how do I need to set up for tomorrow? For content and stuff like that, it can be, it screws up Sundays and sometimes, and trying to watch the football and make sure I've got everything else. So just that added bit of extra. Those last 4 weeks have been really quite nice. Just to spend with the family, I guess. I guess they've enjoyed that. And I said to my wife last week that like it feels weird, like 3 weeks in a row I haven't done a podcast, and this feels bizarre, but it's all good.
So weird. Did you see that they're planning to do 7 p.m. Sunday night games next season?
I did.
Next season or season after?
Season after that, something like that.
Yeah, we're stuffed.
Yeah, that's not gonna be ideal for us. Maybe we might not have to cover that game, just like we don't cover like a Monday game. We just don't cover the game. We just leave it alone.
We will.
So, right, we're back. As you can see, everything is new. The cameras are new. The graphics are new. The sound's the same, hopefully. Although I did kind of break a microphone, so I had to get a new one. But apart from that, yeah, it's all new, which is good, because this season we have teamed up with Sports Social to publish and host our podcasts. And so Stefan and the team over there have been very welcoming. And we look forward to working with them over the next couple of years, which means that we're almost guaranteed to be locked in for season 5 next season as well. So we're doing that already. But yeah, so we're going to be with Sports Social, going to be on all of our normal places, though Spotify, Apple, wherever you get your podcast from. It's not going to change, right? That's the simple thing. Not going to change. And I don't know where it's gone. I had a link here for Fantasy Football Fest. My stream deck has died already. So Fantasy Football Fest, we're going to Fantasy Football Fest. If you didn't see at the weekend, we gave 2 tickets away. It's on the 11th of August. If you're not going and thinking about going, it's in London Waterloo. I'm sure you've seen it all over socials and stuff. But Delia and Guy, who are there on the right hand side, they're both winners of our competition, so they're going to be coming with us. We've got ourselves hotel booked, all done. We've got Dan, who sponsors the podcast. You now can see him rotating in the top right-hand corner, which is nice. So he's going to join us as well. It's going to be a brilliant evening, lots and lots of fun down there. So hopefully we're going to get to meet a bunch of you guys as well. It's always nice for me to see Baker every now and again as well, which is good. And hopefully we can all have a good time.
Cool.
Did you go to the last one?
I don't even know. Yes, I think so. I've been to quite a few of them.
Cool. Good. So where do we want to start?
We got a game.
We've got a
game-ish. No.
Well, yes and no. I mean, I thought the video was quite good actually. I thought it was all right from Kelly and Sam. I wonder whether reveals every 3 minutes were just going to be a bit shit, but actually, it was just enough time to talk about the good things and the bad things and whatever else and their expectations, and then move on. It was kind of good timing, and then obviously to end with, the two players that they did was obviously the right way to do it to keep the suspense going. I think they'd have been lynched if they hadn't finished off with those two, to be fair.
Any immediate reactions on general prices?
Prices, I feel like last year, I feel like they've gone the similar kind of approach as last year for many of it. I'm particularly looking at like the Nkunku price, and okay, we'll come to it, and I was kind of comparing that to Jesus based on, Chelsea's drop in league position, and historically Chelsea forwards have not done fantastically since like Drogba and maybe Diego Costa, maybe, but other than that, really not loads. I guess Torres. So this is like 7, 8, 9 years ago now. That's the problem for Chelsea strikers, right? Unless I've missed someone.
Nah.
Chat will tell me if I've missed someone.
Lukaku. We got Lukaku in and out a little bit, didn't we, and stuff. But I'm a little worried on the prices. Feels like they're potentially trying to bump some defender prices up, and everyone else seems too cheap.
The Trips one surprised me.
I mean, I know everyone. We're going to have a load of the old. Yeah. But Trent, is basically an £8 million midfielder with clean sheets, and he's not. Like, he got less points than Eze last season, and Eze coming in at 8 million. Yeah. And then you see, Trippier at 6.5. Kind of think Shaw's going to be around 6 probably, and then we'll see what the Chelsea ones. Well,
I think Reece will be 5.5, just again because of that Chelsea using Arsenal as the benchmark last year when they dropped Arsenal and United to the floor basically last year. And I think whilst they might not go as low as that with teams that have that kind of pedigree again, I think that's still going to be that's been a consideration for sure.
Definitely.
So
definitely,
where do we want to start?
Like,
or are you
Son and Bruno just
way too cheap? I mean, there's like 17.5 mil for those two. It's a mockery.
That doesn't sit well.
It's a mock. Honestly, it feels like a mockery. Honestly, of those. I mean, Son could. I think I was saying if you get in Boomo, Son, and Bruno, you could legit have 600 points there, plus 650. If you want to put it over a season, you could have 650 points quite easily. And then you look at a player who got 270 last year, and he's 14 million. So you can't even get close to the value with Haaland as you do with those three players. Now, whether that's too simplistic and whether, obviously we need to have a forward, etc., I don't know. Can you just get Kane instead and sacrifice 25 points or whatever?
Yeah, I can't say I like the price. I know, if you think Trent had a pretty disappointing season by the end point, and realistically, the price that they've done on that one, the premium is that they think he might play midfield, and he might play midfield. Yeah. But when you look at Son and Bruno, and you think, they had disappointing season, so you expect a drop. I mean, I suppose they did it with Rashford. Rashford went 9.5 to 6.5.
Yeah,
but class pays out, and suddenly, I'm almost annoyed they're so similar priced as well, because it feels like you're going to just be like thinking I'm going to have one of those two at least, if not both of those two in my team at all points. But you're gonna want one, depending on where they play, and that we still don't 100% know where they're going to play with it. But I mean, if we sell Kane,
Then Son's going to be your central striker.
yes.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that at the moment they're looking at maybe making a lot of players around similar prices and a lot of players affordable, and therefore it then hopefully will predict, create some diversity in where they are. I don't 100% buy that. I think there's diversity available at the start, but with the amount of content that's out there, we see deadline streams of Andy's and stuff doing 20,000 people watching it at one time and stuff like that. The template is still going to be strong for game week 1.
Yeah.
So admittedly, yes, you can go away from it and do whatever you want, but it quickly forms. And if it's so easily available to form, so like if there's lots of players that you can go from a 9 million to an 8 million to a 7 million to a 6 million, like the template forms even quicker because the price changes go really quick because nobody needs 2 moves to do it. I'm a little uneasy after day 1 of what that's going to mean from prices.
We still don't have loads of information. I mean, what we found last year, I felt that we had good clubs with low average pricing across their whole sort of squads. And I've said that obviously like Chelsea may drop because of the same consideration. I think if they haven't released any of that, they've just kind of released Liverpool so far, and I don't think the Liverpool ones they've released were really way out there.
They're not way out there.
If you push them,
Darwin
push
at
everyone
7.5.
up, yeah.
If Darwin gets a starting game, like if he's playing, they're 1,000,000% going to be a considerable amount of the season that we just think, well, Darwin's a no-brainer.
You're going to have Darwin's a no-brainer. You're going to have Nkunku's then going to be a no-brainer. You're going to have at some point Watkins might be a no-brainer. Then like Kane will run goals. United will sign a striker, and you've got Haaland, and suddenly we're clambering over. We haven't even spoken about Isak or Wilson, right? And
yeah,
I mean, obviously we're not going Jesus, but
well, I don't know. We're not. We don't know the prices for him.
It could be. Well, but he's not going to be less than 8.5 million, is he? 8 million? No.
8.5.
8.5.
I think 8.5. I can see it. So it looks like they're being very, very reasonable, which I get it. We've got 12 million players. They want to get people involved in it. I was never thought they were going to try and make it like really, really difficult. But it feels it feels like it might be a bit too open at the moment. Which the good thing about it being open is like I think it plays more into the kind of early wildcarders. And I like the game that way a bit more. Like I don't really want to play the game I don't want to be the over strategize it, think about the get to the game week 19 and do the stuff. I kind of like the idea that I could just run and jump on stuff as it plays out. So I suspect that the easier the pricing is, it plays more into those people's hands. But wait and see. Let's see how the rest of them turn up.
Okay.
What are we going to do then?
Well, which club would you like to start with?
Which club we got? Should we start with Liverpool because we've got the most data for Liverpool, haven't we? Most teams.
We do. We do. So we've got Darwin at 7.5. We've got Trent at 8 million, Salah 12.5, and Alexis McAllister at 6 million. What do you think of the McAllister price?
Why isn't Robbo up there?
Don't like Robbo. I mean, yes, he got, what was he, an MBE or an OBE for services to football and charity?
Just don't like him.
Yeah, fair play to him for that, but yeah, just don't like him. So, I just don't think we'll be picking.
I don't like him at 6.5 million, mate. There's no chance. I'm going near Robertson at 6.5 million. So, no brainer. McAllister
for me, I mean, I think he's even less of an option with Szoboszlai, to be quite honest. I just don't think like. Okay, I made this point a few weeks ago. If you look at any Liverpool midfielder in the past 5-6 years that hasn't been on penalties, and you just go round that Thiago, Henderson, Keita, Fabinho, Carvalho, Jones, Elliott, like just name them all and ask yourself if you were going to get any of them for more than 6 million. You just don't have them. Why? I mean,
No.
look at the guys to his left.
The only thing that potentially with Mac is that we don't necessarily know plays on that left wing. If it was Darwin stretches teams down the left a lot more than Diaz does. Diaz kind of almost slows the ball down and will come inside and do the stuff. And then I'm like, if Diaz is starting, even if Jota's starting, I've got no interest in Mac. If Darwin is starting, he really does create that long ball over the top to the left. And we're going to assume, so this is based on the assumption that you're effectively looking at twin eights in Szoboszlai and Mac, and that Mac will play the left side and Szoboszlai will play one in from Salah.
Yes.
Which is a whole different part about how wide that we end up with Salah, but that's a whole different game. And there's a whole different game about the fact if Szoboszlai plays the right channel of what does that mean for Trent, because Szoboszlai had the best long passing stats in the league in Bundesliga, and will play in the right channel and is very good on set pieces. So that's a whole different game about what we see, but we won't know that till we start seeing what goes pitch. But what we do know is if they've got Trent on the right channel, and if we've got Szoboszlai on the right channel, there was a really good thing from StatsBomb the other day that showed where teams pass to. And the best combo was right channel for Liverpool, deep into the left channel. So we know he makes brilliant runs, Mac. He might really flourish in that role in a different way to what we've seen. None of those players we've just mentioned there, Thiago, Jones, they're not getting in the half space and getting through it. No chance. But he can get there. And so I'm not totally ruling him out, but Corey, you want to see it first. Because if I've got the option of Mac, who's probably the fifth best attacker in this team, or I can have, and probably not on pens, or I can have Eze, Boomo, all the rest of it. I just can't see myself going there at 6.
Do you think that Darwin's going to be the only? Do you think Gakpo will be moved up to a forward? Because
100%.
He's got to be, right, because otherwise you're going to have. I mean, that midfield is going to be. I mean, all the midfield options anyway. You're going to have Salah, McAllister. You're going to have Szoboszlai. You're going to have Diaz, and I mean Jota, third forward as well.
Jota, I'm not 100% sure whether they'll place him as forward or not. I think because Firmino's gone, there's probably that extra spot for a forward. So it wouldn't surprise me if they just stick with Jota and maybe Jota, Darwin, and Gakpo as
3 forwards, 3 big forwards.
Maybe
that's why they've dropped the pricing slightly. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll have to see. I mean, if Jota's reclassified as a midfielder again and Darwin starts, that makes Darwin even better because he'll be a forward and he'll be one of the only forwards, and therefore he'll be all over the bonus. That's a big problem for Trent, actually, if we end up with, and any of the midfielders, if we end up with Darwin, Jota, and Hakpo. We can call him Hakpo or Gakpo this season. Where we're going
Whatever
for.
You want, mate. Whatever you want.
I'll stick it with Gakpo. If we end up with all of them as strikers, then that's a big deal. Trent, I just think on Trent, you have to wait and see how they line up. They can't continually lose away games and concede the amount of XG that they have been. So they have to do something about it. I understand.
Those last 10 games have shown us a slight change in the way that, well, they almost use that as like a testing ground, right? The last 10 games to just sort of test that and work it in. I mean, obviously, Klopp's seen that it's been working for Pep with that inverted fullback or that additional 6, if whatever you want to call it. And I just think that will make, Klopp's not stupid. If that's effective, then he'll continue to make that work.
I think whoever they get in the 6 is still really important. If they get Thuram in the 6, so it's not Fabinho in the 6 anymore, and they just completely say get rid of it all.
Yeah,
I think it's a massive upgrade. McAllister is a massive upgrade on Thiago. McAllister would be over the moon if he ends up with a career that Thiago had. But last season, when Thiago played, I sort of stat that they averaged 1.7 xGC per game when he played, as opposed to 0.9 when he didn't.
Wow.
They couldn't carry that anymore. His legs just weren't making it. But that 6 is a big deal. I don't get the impression that Fabinho is anywhere near the player he was a few years back.
Yeah.
But maybe he was just tired because he was carrying the midfield. Maybe with, Mac out alongside him and Szoboszlai, and maybe Fabinho just gets it all back. But I feel like they still need a 6.
I mean, we're going to see rotation anyway. I mean, that's not necessarily important for the first 4 or 5 game weeks, especially leading up to the first international break. But we're going to get. It looks like a really deep attacking squad, and I think that's going to be really useful for the Europa League and stuff that they've got to play. Because I don't know, I feel like Klopp will want to do well in that comp anyway.
Yeah.
If it had have been conference, it never could have been really. But if it had have been, I think he'd have just thrown it away. But I think he's building a squad to get back into the Champions League. Whether that's through, and I think he understands that the competition is probably tougher in the league than it is in the Europa. So he might target that competition anyway, but that is a long way away.
And we haven't tackled Salah, but we're not going to tonight because we're doing a separate pod on Salah. For us to, we've looked at it. Salah was the person that scored the most effective points against us, against the prime managers, the legendary managers. So it's been a little bit maybe of a blind spot against us, or maybe we were right, but we wanted to do a bit of work on it. So we've done some digging around Salah. We kind of expected that prices might be a challenge in some areas, and can you have Salah and Haaland, and what does it mean for the rest of it? And I think I'm already seeing lots of noise about Salah, no Salah. We're going to tackle that separately, give it the time it's due.
And I think it's good. I think it's good that we'll do that in a couple of days when we've actually got all the prices, so we can take what we've got so far and then just add a bit of context into there that will help us, maybe come to a right conclusion.
Yeah. So we'll park it.
What's next?
Who else have we got?
Mate, it's top 8.
A lot of. Let's start with City.
So all we know is Haaland.
So my brain here, so I'm no good here because my brain just says, well, I'll have Haaland. So that's, I'm not even considering not having Haaland at the moment. I look at the fixtures and I go Burnley, Newcastle at home, where they scored 2 or 3 in the 2 games they played against last season. Sheffield United away, Fulham at home, West Ham away. I'm like, yeah. Haaland's
if you look at the stats, so for those looking at me, you can see it on there. But the stats that Corv has provided us, they're from his thread that he put out on Twitter. It's that 2.5 plus goals percentage across those weeks. And if you look at Haaland, 14 million. The odds that are there saying 50% in the first week, 48% in the second week, 53% in the third week, 59 in the fourth, and 43 in the third, which is top amongst all teams in the entire league for all 5 weeks each week. So, and it's the thing is, we all know the sensible thing is that actually if you don't start with Haaland and you use all your money, then you don't get to Haaland without wildcard. So can you commit yourself to missing out on Burnley and Sheffield United in the first 3 games plus Fulham at home before wildcard with no Haaland when he's captainable in all 3 fixtures?
Sorry for the audio. I'm just sitting here shaking my head.
Remember that we are a podcast as well.
Yeah, I am not considering it.
It doesn't seem to make. It does frustrate me a bit in that he's going to be so far ahead of second place. Whether that be, we can transfer speculate about Kane where he's going to play, whatever, but he's going to be 12 or 12 and a half. He's going to either be the third highest or the joint second highest priced player in the game. And we're just not going to have him again. Right?
Yeah. Just,
which is,
well, we don't know that. We don't know. We definitely don't know that. We're going to get Ange propaganda and go nuts over the next 6 weeks and stuff. So
yes,
we don't know that. Especially, can you imagine us two if Kane comes out and says, "I'm staying"? Like, follow. There's going to be the old fucking Leonardo DiCaprio memes and stuff, the videos.
Leaving. That is all coming out. You're right.
And then that's it. We'll be over a barrel. I have this. This is a problem for us on this. Is the night before deadline every season. I have the conversation with my wife, and she just looks me in the eye and she says, "Have you got Kane and Son?" And because she knows if I do have them, then potentially it's a disaster. And we had it last season, and I was like, there's this new guy. You have to. She doesn't know football, so I have to explain. There's this new guy. He's a big guy, built like a machine. He's really good, but I love Harry, so I want to start with Harry. And if it goes wrong, I'm just going to move to the new guy. It's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. She was like, "That's what you want. That's what you want." And then next day, she just looks at me, like, I can see I'm an absolute mess. And she's like, I've seen that guy on the news. He's pretty big. He's pretty big. And yeah. I ain't going about Haaland again.
No, I think it's easy to say lock now, but I think it doesn't make any sense not to go with him. And you plonk him in there, he gets injured first game, and then you take him out. I mean, then you just go wherever you like. It's just about having flexibility, isn't it? I don't think there's anything else to add. There's nothing really else to add here, is there? I mean, what other prices are you interested in from City? Is there anyone that's...
How much will you pay for John Stones if he's a defender? I'm assuming he's a defender. How much will you pay for John Stones?
I'd pay 6 million. I think he's going to be 6 million.
I think I would pay 6 million.
Yeah, I think if you look at the City centre-backs gone by, you look at Laporte and Diaz, that 6 million price point is where they are. And Stones was always just behind them, but now he's like the number one for me. Obviously, Diaz is great, but
I hope he causes us a decision by putting him at 6 million. I think at 5.5, it's like 80% of the team. Actually, at 5.5, the annoying part will suddenly be City defence will be over 100% owned because it will find ways. I'm hoping that he's 6 million and it causes issues, and we have to try and work it out. Because I think if he's 6 million, I think we'll end up with Ake at 5, maybe 5.5.
No, you won't get any 5. You'll get maybe get Rico Lewis at 5. You won't get anyone else at 5.
God, do you think it'll be that sort of money?
I think so. I don't think you get Rico Lewis at 4.5 again.
He's not going to play any minutes, but I reckon we're going to get an Akanji or an Ake at 5. They priced Diaz at 6 last season, didn't they?
They did.
So Stones are going to be 6 million.
Yeah, I'm just looking see if I can see anything. What did they do last season? So Man City.
Akanji was 5, I think. Ake was 5.
Akanji and Ake were 5. Laporte was 5. 5?
Yeah, but he's done.
And Diaz was 6.
Yeah.
No. Laporte was 6. Sorry, Laporte was 6. Went down to 5, 6. Yeah, so I think you'll have 2. You'll have 2 at 6 million, and I think there'll be 1 at 5. Yeah, there'll be 1 at 5, and then they'll be down. But you got to also remember that they had Cancelo last year as well. So there's a price missing there. So I think there's going to be something. There's going to be somebody pushed up.
And we've got Gvardiol. How do you say it? Gvardiol?
I would go. I'd say the G.
Say the G with it.
I would do.
Coming in. That makes it difficult. Yeah. Which therefore just means you just want Stones. I'm going to muck out with the others.
Yeah. Okay.
Midfielders. Any interest in midfielders? No matter what the prices are.
Well, if Grealish is 5 million, I'll take him.
He's not going to be though, is he? Exactly. They're going to be 7.
You said
whatever.
You said whatever the price. You led me to that.
Yeah.
No, I'm not. No. What do you think KDB will be?
Oh, surely, he's got to be along the. Now that makes the decision semi-interesting. If Son is the same price as Son at 9 million.
Son had 150 points. De Bruyne still had 183.
9.5.
9.5.
I think 10.
I can't.
I think 10 is maximum.
Well, I thought Son would be 10 because I just thought there's pedigree, right?
Oh,
They shocked me there. I thought Son would be down at 10.
Kev.
Everyone was saying lower. I couldn't believe it, but they did go down. So, but not for. I think that's Tottenham as well. It's not just Son. It's Tottenham.
And we don't know the massive. Well, let's go
10 and a
Tottenham.
half.
Let's go Tottenham. We've got to do it, mate, because it's our team.
Let's go Tottenham. But he's got to be 10 and a half, hasn't he? De Bruyne. Last thoughts on that one.
10.5. Yeah, I like that.
5.
Good price.
Yeah. So we got Son at 9, which I just don't understand it. I do and I don't, but
yeah. The only thing we don't know is that. So what we know, there'll be an attacking 5. We know that it'll start in a 4-3-3. There'll be 2 midfielders that go into the 5, or maybe one of the fullback, maybe Porro, and one of the midfielders becomes the 5 attackers, which suggests to you if Porro is the right wing, as I think it will end up in attack, Kulusevski and Maddison will take up the 8s. Yeah, think of them as inside forwards. Kane takes the 9 as it stands, which leaves you with Son for left wing. It's quite wide, his left side. The only positive is that, because Porro will be really wide, I imagine, is that will naturally pull us in. But we don't know the style. Again, similar, I mentioned that stats bomb thing earlier, but the combos, everything last season funneled right. Everything funneled right. We did not use the left for passing, which meant that if you were on the left side last season, then you were basically a back post striker. But we don't know this season of how it's going to set up under Ange, so we have to just see it.
I'll say we can talk it, but none of us have really watched Celtic.
No,
as much as we'd love to say we know about it so far.
No.
I mean, so what we will be doing at some point, which I guess announcing, I've just spoken to the boys over at the Extra Inch, and I don't know whether Nathan, who is on his honeymoon, still knows about this yet, but
we're roping him in.
We're roping him in to talk about Ange, talk about Maddison, and maybe we'll have a bit more information on what Harry Kane's going to do as well. So
yes, yeah, that'll help us.
Opening fixtures wise, I mean, like they're about as good as I'd fancy, to be honest. I do like those fixtures, all of them, including the United at home one.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of people that are going to say, I'm going to wait to game week 3. I think there is going to be a lot of people that are going to wait to game week 3. That first game at home to United, it feels like goals. It's been it so many times last season, 2 all at home. It's quite often both teams to score, and it's big. Like I am. Yeah. Definitely on it. And on the defenders, if Porro that's the one. If Porro's 5, just in.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm smiling because Colm says don't forget Son is a year younger this year.
We shouldn't forget that.
It's a great point.
It's a great point. You got to think that Maddison's going to be 8 dead because I thought before the Sun price, I thought it'd be 8.5, and I thought that's pushing. But if he's 8, and I think if he's 8, Kulusevski might be 7.5. 7.5.
I don't think it goes as low as 7. I think 7.5. It's weird. We say that. We say that.
Matoma's 6.5, mate.
Yeah. No, we say that, and if you consider, where did we finish last year? 8th.
Yes.
Didn't all the Arsenal mids go down to like 6.5, and United mids went down to 6.5?
Yeah.
Are we in a world where we're going to get Maddison at 7? Just because. And he was 8 million last year in a Leicester team that got relegated, and now he's moved to a Tottenham team that prices are dropping. Why would he not be 7?
I've got to distract to say our good friend Praz has dropped in. Can say hello. And also, what does Adam make of the word wummium?
I can't. The problem is I can't mute it on YouTube. I just have to mute the person that says it. So you're on
How
thin
many
ice.
how many memes do you have muted on Twitter?
Do you want me to check? I've got probably about 7 of them.
Oh,
Something
right,
like that.
guys. So an 8 meme will get through, boys. Just so you know.
Just keep talking. Oh yeah, no, but I've got it in word form and I've got it in
Yeah.
number form. So when people used to use like literally the numbers 2.5, I put that in
Oh
there as
my
well. I
God,
was
that's how much you hate them.
I
Um,
genuinely hated it.
if Kane, if Kane stays, and so we know that he's maximum price is 12.5 because they've said that Haaland and Mo are the two most expensive. Mo would still be the second most expensive, even if Kane was 12.5. So that there is a way you could say it. But we're expecting that Kane's like 12.0 or below. I'm assuming he's going to be 12.0. That's where we're ending up.
Yeah, I've got 9 by the way, 9 of them.
So you're against the freemium? Is that what you're saying?
It's yeah, it's muted. Both of them, both versions are muted.
Oh dear. Because there's some favourable prices. If you're willing to go down on the defence, then I think it's still well on. But I do think people are going to look at it and go, Son and Bruno. There's so many midfield spots though. I saw lots of people earlier today saying Son, you can immediately do it now. Son, Bruno, Eze, Matoma, Salah, like, and go 5 across midfield, and you're like, that's no Arsenal midfielders yet. You can't, you know, even for us, having no Arsenal feels odd.
Well, I don't know. I think again, we were there because they were cheap last year. Like we got Saka because he was the
But they were
penalty
also
taker.
good.
Of
They
course
were
they were.
also good.
Yeah, but we can say they were good. Would you have bought them at 9.5 million last year? Yeah, probably actually. Odegaard got 212 points.
We should, yeah, but we also shouldn't forget at 8 million how good Jesus was basically at the start of that season. So let's go to Arsenal. Come rip our band-aid
Arsenal,
off.
yeah. So we got Odegaard at 8.5. We don't know Saka. We don't know Martinelli. Obviously, we're going to have. Is this all we're really thinking of? Because I think we got strikers galore already. I think Jesus is off the table completely. But
I don't think he is.
I think he is.
He's not off for me.
Okay.
Definitely not. Because we've got to know the price on it. But I'm going to guess it wouldn't surprise me if Martinelli is a little bit less than Odegaard and Saka is a bit more than Odegaard and Gabby J is the same price as Odegaard.
So, right, Saka, what do you think Saka's price should be?
Well, I think he should be about 8.5.
I think he should be 10 million.
Do you?
Well, look, he's like Raheem Sterling's been over 10 million in his entire life. He's going to get dropped this season, but like he's just come off a 200-point season, Saka, and he's on pens for arguably the second best team in the country. Like, why?
He's still got 10 points less than Odegaard.
Yes, but he's on pens.
He's still got 10 points less, even though it was on pens all season last season, and he's still got 10 points less than Odegaard.
But he's a more forward. He plays in that Salah position, so he's that's what they'll use.
But he's still got less points. He's still got less points. Like whatever you play, you make it. They were both all 3 of them were midfielders, and there were 14 points between them. Like, if you put me Saka at 10 million, then I'm just looking at Martinelli and Odegaard. The thing with Saka, I was doing some looking the other day just around, the expected data, expected per 90. Like he's nowhere near. Like not even a little bit near. Like he's a long way off those type of players in terms of expected data. So he was hot. He was hot last season. So he's on pens and he was hot. Now,
he only got like 20 points less than he did. He only got 20 points more than he did the season before.
Yeah.
Right? He's a 200 point. He's a 180 to 200 point player.
Yeah, he is. He is. But he has to massively increase his expected data to have a chance of being your 250-point player.
Again, I guess
to
because
show
there's so many routes to points in that Arsenal midfield. I guess that's probably going to be
there's
same.
so many. There's
argument for
so
Liverpool
many
forwards.
points to it, but you do have to have some expect. You have to, and it's not there. So if it's not there, then I'm a little bit like I don't want to spend 10 million on him. But if he's 9 or below, yeah, I can get on board. It's still much more fun a pick than Odegaard in it at 8.5. It's definitely a more fun pick than Odegaard at 8.5. But his
not even
expected
considering
date.
Havertz, are we?
No. no. His expected XG per game was 0.32 per 90.
Yeah, that's low.
It's low.
That's not premium level, is what I mean. Anyway.
Yeah. I mean, spoiler alert from the pod on Wednesday, but Mr. Salah had for the last 10 game weeks had an XG of 0.8. You know, we just signed Manor Solomon, whose XG was about 0.6 or something like that per game. Like Callum Wilson is like 0.7 per game. And you ain't paying 9 million for a Callum Wilson. 0.3 per game is you've got to be doing a lot of assists. You've got to be the prime playmaker for your team. And he's not. And we don't know where Havertz comes in. So you want players in the game, but I think 9 million is the right price. And I think it makes them, again, I want them to make the midfield £9 million spot a bit of fun in that you've got Bruno at 8.5, you've got Son at 9, make him 9. 9.5, I think you can still have some fun with. If Martinelli is 8, I think I might side on Martinelli.
Okay, fair enough. I think Martinelli will be cheaper than Saka, but Martinelli will be 9 and then Saka. I still think.
Do you? Do you think Martinelli will be more expensive than Odegaard?
Let's see. I know Odegaard has had one good season, but
he's young though, mate. Like he's still young.
What's Martinelli, like 30 or?
I know, but like we make it out like he's a dull player. Like he's the captain. There's more competition in that team.
And so he's
got
Europe.
Europe. But what you are looking at is Forest home, Palace away, Fulham home, United at home, big game, Everton away. Before Europe, they started last season. Just let's not forget the fact that first 15 minutes, bang, 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 they were killing teams. I still want a piece of that.
Okay, fair enough. Come on, let's move on.
I still want a piece of that. Yeah, we can do. But look, don't forget. I think Gabby J will just stay away from him. But 0.32 per 90 for Saka, 0.48 per 90. Sorry, not 0.61, sorry, per 90. Double the XG per 90. He is a funnel in that team. He helped us all out massively at the start of the season. I still, if he's 8 million or so, Gabriel Jesus will be in my team.
How much?
If he's 8.0, he's in. If he's 8.5, he probably is in too.
I can't. And somebody said my voice was just lower than yours, so I've just moved my microphone around. Hope that's better. Okay. There's a long time for you to change your mind, mate.
You don't believe in Jesus.
I don't. No, I'm not buying it. Where are we going?
No,
we're moving
Newcastle. Newcastle.
So they have some of the worst fixtures to start with out of anyone. Like those first 4 are pretty average, and then going away to Brentford isn't great either. So I think Trips is too high here. I think Trips
Yeah.
is. I think he's just too high. I think if you add in 6 Champions League games and however many more they need, they will get through later on in the season. I just think whether they go to Europa League, they're not going to finish bottom of their group. Definitely not. Very
No.
feasible that they would qualify from their Champions League group. At worst case, it's Europa, which is more fixtures. I just think it's too many games. Like Trips is 32.
Yeah, there's talk that they're after Livramento as well, which
Yeah. So
apparently
what?
they want 50 million for Livramento.
Southampton, really?
50 million. So, like, if
Wow.
they spend a lot of money on Livramento, then I'm like, ooh.
Well, no.
But
I
even
mean,
the
he's not going
fact,
to start. He's not going to start ahead of him. But I mean, where
mate, they're
is he
not.
going to?
You can't spend 50 million on something. They have not got the ability, even with the Saudi owned and all the rest of it. They have not got the ability. When you're a team that plays Dan Burn every week and plays Fabian Schär every week and plays, Longstaffs and the likes, right? Like, if they want to stay top four, like they can't spend 50 million on players that are not going to play, like unless they think that Trippier can't make it. Which so
So
if they
then,
spend 50 million, I'm thinking, is Trippier in trouble here? Because he's not getting younger, is he?
no. And my point as well is if they brought in someone like that, I mean, what games are they going to play Trippier in?
Yeah, exactly. Is they'll play him in
They'll play him in the Champions League. Perfect. I want him even less then.
exactly. So the whole thing just to me says, I'm basically ruling out now
That's why I
that
say it's too
Trippier
expensive.
will work out
If it
well.
had been 6, then fine. But I think if they do look to bring in another one, and I think just generally 6 million would have been fine for Trippier.
Yeah, but I think they had to price him at that. I do think they had to price him at 6.5, especially once they decided they were going to price Trent at 8. And 6.5 for Trippier with his fixtures, or 6.5 for Robbo with better fixtures, I'll still have Trippier.
Okay. That's for me. That feels more like a slot rather than a points route to points. Because I think you probably
Yeah, but
better
what I'm
off having
saying is, if you said I was going to spend 6.5 million on a midfielder, I still think Trippier is the better option than a Robbo type thing. But I don't think either of them are options. Is my feeling on it.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. No, I'm not saying buy him, but I'm definitely not buying Robbo at 6.5. Then if I was to buy someone, I'd buy Trippier over that. The only person I'm interested in is Wilson. In this whole team right now is, what does Wilson come in at? Because Wilson is the best starter of a season in the entire game, probably above Salah.
So, okay. So you're starting the season with
Yeah.
how much would you pay for Wilson?
Um,
I'm
I
adding it
don't
up in
think
my head
Wilson.
here.
I can't see Wilson's more than 7.5.
Cool. Okay, so 7.5 Wilson, 8.5 Jesus, 14 million Haaland.
Well, he might dictate the Jesus play.
Oh,
But it
the
depends.
play or the price?
Yeah, whether you have a third striker or not.
You defaulting back to your 3-4-3.
If it's 3-4-3, then I think I definitely will end up with 2 strikers around that price, because I think you've got Darwin, you've got, I can't see a world in which I end up. We'll probably say already, I can't see a world where I end up with Kane and Haaland. We can clip this and play on game week 1. But Wilson's the only one I'm interested in, because they don't seem to be in the market for a new striker. Isaac seemed to like playing on the left wing, and I don't see them in the market for any left wingers.
He was 7.5 million last year. He's got to go up.
Has he?
Yes.
We've got FPL team Peter
I don't think it's gonna be 8.5.
in the chat.
I think 8.
He thinks 8.5.
I think benchmarking with Watkins is fair. Given that Watkins has gone up to 8 million in an inferior team. Granted, they haven't got Europe. No, they do. Villa do have Europe, don't they? Yeah, the Villa do have
They do have
well.
Europe.
So Villa have Europe as well. Wilson is in a better team that score more goals. He's just as talismanic. We know what his goal involvement's like.
Yeah.
If
Yeah,
he's
we know it.
if he's less than 8, it'll be I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think if he's less than 8, he's in. I think that's
I just think back to previous seasons. I look at it. I was just looking at some.
yeah.
I just reminiscing about some. So 18-19 in the first 10 game weeks, he played 9 games, scored 50 points. 19-20 played 9 games, scored 50 points. 2021 he played 8 games, scored 55 points. Last season he only played 5 games, but still got 29 points. So it's like 5, 6, 7 points a game in some of this.
Pretty good.
Like it just if he's fit and firing, you just get him in. Even last season, he started the first 5 and got 25 points. But he had 14 shots in the box in those 5 games. Like,
yeah,
Wilson, just keep remembering, keep telling yourself, Wilson starts unbelievably fast.
and as I said, he hogs XGI and GI, just goal involvement. He loves it.
It's just City, Liverpool, Brighton, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
Mind you, they all concede. They all concede.
Yeah.
No, nobody else.
Nobody else? Don't fancy Pope? You're going 4.5, 4.5?
I haven't seen my keeper yet. Maybe we should do a pod on keepers.
We'll do a pod on keepers. Okay, cool.
Just
I don't even know who we've done. Like today now, I'm just trying to think now. We've done Arsenal. We haven't done Brighton yet.
Yeah, let's do Brighton. Because we've got to play, haven't we? We've got Matoma.
Yeah, except he's not 8'5", he's 6'5". Hold on.
Would you pay 8.5?
Nah. I think 6'5's fine. I think 6'5's fine. He had half a good season. Don't get me wrong, it's great when having him.
Yeah.
But 6'5 is perfectly adequate. To be honest. In a season where we're going to see more Evan Ferguson, we're going to see more Enciso.
Yep.
We've got no McAllister there supporting him.
We've got João Pedro in.
We've got João Pedro, who's does he play more on the right though? Didn't he not play more on the right for Watford?
Oh, mate, he plays more the well-better role, more striker than anything else, mate. He's
well,
not.
Yeah.
He's definitely not a right winger. He's. I would say that Pedro's likely to be the competition for Ferguson for that starting place. It's so difficult, Brian, here because of that first game. Because if you squint and you don't see game week 1, I'm not convinced I'd get him.
How's that? Is that better?
Yeah. If you look at that, I can tell you the fourth column, or wherever the fourth column there is, the over 2.5 goals on the old odds that Draft Down put together. 10th, 6th, 9th, 15th.
I love the way you say you don't like these, and they won 6 out of 8 last year.
Yeah. Yeah, they did.
They did.
It's
the first thing that I can see is all the W's.
And, you can't ignore it. You can't ignore this is a team that continually put up over 2 XG numbers. We're going to talk about, we might talk about Eze after this and talk about what we've seen from them, but they are a team that continue to put up less than 1 XG numbers, Palace, compared to this is a team that continue to put over 2 XG numbers. Mitoma is probably the safest minutes of all the players that are there. Albeit, like I say, Pedro can play across any of those positions, so maybe he takes and eats into everybody's minutes. We have no idea what happens to their midfield without McAllister, and likely without Caicedo. We're assuming no Caicedo, but not gone yet. Pascal, I reckon Pascal Gross comes in at 5.5.
Yeah.
And
I don't see any reason.
And probably takes the pens back. Depends on it.
Do you think March will come in at 6.5 alongside Mitoma?
I think March might be 6.0.
I don't know.
Close.
Oh, I have to pre-book. I have to pre-tell you that there is going to be a week in the season, unfortunately, where I'm not going to be here. So we're going to have to do no pod because my wife's just booked a holiday. Happy days.
Nice.
First holiday in 5 years.
Good work.
Anyway.
Yeah. I don't like I mean, 3 out of the first 4 are at home though. If I squint the other way and pretend there's no game week 5, 3 out of the 4 are at home.
Yeah, but yeah, and even if you get rid of game week 4, like you go into game week 4 wild card or something like that. I know some will say to 8,
Yeah.
but you take those first 3 and you go Luton. Wolves for me, like I was doing, I was listing out players last night that I needed to get headshots from in preparation for finding out prices because we didn't know who we were going to get. And I literally got to Wolves, and I think I wrote the words "literally no one" because I just can't think of a Wolves player that I wanted. I don't think FPL
No,
really wanted to release any Wolves prices either because they released Jose Sarr, who's been dropped. So
exactly.
again, you look
Exactly.
at those first. So let's do this in reverse. Let's just snip that into there and go right. So Brighton, who regularly chucked in 2.5 xg last year for long periods of time, 2 to 2.5 xg, have got Luton at home, then Wolves away, then West Ham at home. Like if this was game week 25, 26 last year, we'd be on triple Brighton, like without even thinking about it.
If a Stupin's 5.5, he's in. Stuff he's
I
in.
don't think he can be any more expensive than that.
And he can't be, can he?
It just can't. He can't be any
Just
more
put him in.
than 5.5.
In you come, Purvis. In you
I
come.
still wouldn't be surprised if he was 5, but
5.5. In you come,
Luke
Purvis.
Shaw was 5 last year, right? Was he not?
Yeah, in you come. In you come.
So you wouldn't. So you worried about Ferguson's minutes then with João Pedro? Is
I'm
because
just worried
he'll
about
be like
Ferguson's
5.5,
minutes.
won't he? He'll be 6.
I think 6.0. 6.0. But boy, if
Why
we
do we
get,
feel the need to say 0.0?
I don't know.
He's just 6.
It's just six.
He's just
Just
6.
six.
He's just
It's
6.
just six.
6.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm still interested in Gross if it comes up.
Yeah, guy saying he was the highest point scorer of all Brighton players last season. It's good to
Yeah.
know. Yes. Did we do
No, we
United?
started looking at this. We've only got a few prices. And I was like, we wouldn't have a lot to talk about. We've got loads.
Yeah, I'm looking at the hour. We've been recording for an hour now. It's just coming up to an hour.
All right. We'll give it.
Have we done United yet?
Let's go quick. Let's do some United.
I don't even know whether we've done United. I couldn't even remember.
We haven't done United. We haven't done Nkunku. We haven't done We haven't done.
Oh god, we haven't done Chelsea.
Arsenal.
Where the hell's Chelsea? I'm sure I've got.
Are we allowed to talk about Chelsea today on Poch's first day?
Well, we can just talk in. Do you want to do a separate pod on Nkunku as well?
Yeah, we'll do a separate pod.
Do a separate Chelsea one.
Maybe doing it a pod on Nkunku and Szoboszlai because we're doing a little bit of research on them.
Maddison
so maybe
as well. Let's get 3 of them in there.
Yeah, good. £8 million pound midfielders.
This is good. We're planning pre-season pods on the fly. I love it. We just never change, mate. We should never change.
Never change. Hey, what happens if Rashford is 8.5 and a midfielder?
I think it gives you. I would still go Bruno. I think actually out of the two. In fact, it depends because it depends. If they don't sign a striker, surely he has to go up top. Surely he just has to play in the middle. No.
If he's a midfielder and 8.5,
is he in? Is he another one of those that's in, mate?
That's what you want them to do. Like, you want to make decisions, and if they're both the same price in both the same position, that becomes
why wouldn't he be? Why
fantastic.
wouldn't he be 8.5? Because Odegaard was only 8.5.
Yeah, why wouldn't it be? Because they haven't signed a forward yet, I think he's going to go to forward.
You think? You think he'll get a move? Like he'll get a positional change?
I think because they haven't signed one. But I don't think they can risk it. I think the same thing. What they've done with Trent is they've stuck him up £500,000 because he might play at midfield. That's what they've done. Like insurance. If Trent hadn't played that segment, it's an insurance. And I think the same one here, because it doesn't look like Kane's going to United, because it doesn't sound like there's a huge amount of money, and they might sign, someone younger in that position. And because they've signed Mount, which therefore means you've got potentially that means that one of Mount or Bruno moves into those 3 roles on a more permanent basis, if not both of them. You've already got Anthony, Sancho's still there, all the likes of it. I think the right thing to do as like an insurance to make it so that everybody doesn't have Rashford is you put him as like a 8 million striker.
I was going to say, what do you think on
striker.
pricing for Rashford? Because I'm looking, because he got 13 clean sheets and 17 goals.
Yeah, but his bonus will be through the roof.
His bonus would have been through the roof. Yeah, I'm just thinking that probably offsets. And to be fair though, that's 30 points, which would take him down to what, 175. Then add some bonus, 190 as a forward.
Are these fixtures good enough?
He'd have been third highest, so yeah, 8 million makes sense.
Like, I think everyone's seen Bruno today because you've just seen Bruno. We would just assume Bruno's in. But are these fixtures good enough to double up?
Not with Tottenham and Arsenal away. Well, people will argue that Tottenham away is a difficult fixture, but
yeah, because we're likely to be open early on, aren't we? We're likely to be open early on.
Well, while we're still getting used to playing a decent.
They scored two. It was 2 at our place. We already mentioned it. It's always goals.
Yeah.
We're
running out of spaces, mate. You've got so many players in.
It's good. And like I say, we've got no price reveals yet. Yeah. So maybe the prices are okay. But I think they are okay for game week 1. I just think they're not going to be okay come game week 4.
And we probably, I mean, it's good having a look at this sort of like 5 game week horizon. We probably do need to look at 8 because 75% of your squad will be in there for 8 weeks. Most likely.
Depends on when you're going to wild card. I just don't. I really don't like to look.
We've got the thing is, again, we're going to just go back to this season. This season, whilst we've got like Asia Cup and AFCON and stuff like that going on, there's no reset because like the World Cup. There's no reset because of COVID. Your wild card is going to be a 25-week wild card, right? So you need to make sure that it's right.
Oh yeah.
And I think if you pick a squad strong enough to get through to 8, that's probably going to be good. I mean, obviously things can change, but
yeah, we get trigger happy, mate. So yeah, I don't think we can plan that far, but we hope for 8. We've got transfers. Be fine.
That's why I said 75%, mate. 75.
Chelsea. Let's wait till we get more on Chelsea. Other than the one thing, we both watched it earlier today, but Sky did a all goals and assists at Szoboszlai. Watch that, because my number one takeaway I took from it is Nkunku was ridiculous. 7.5, mate.
Yes. I'm getting there, mate. Sorry, I'm still getting warmed up.
He can finish.
Yeah.
Off the left side, he's cold as ice, mate. He is off the left side. And we don't know who's going to play forward. Like, I know they're just saying the other guy, but I'm not 100% convinced he's suddenly going to be a 38 game a season striker. It wouldn't surprise me if they end up with some kind of false 9 or something that they work with, but we'll see. If he ends up being...
He looks very much like an out-and-out 9.
Yeah, he's not been, but he's more of a 9 than, say, Werner was when he came in. I mean, the obvious comparison is Werner, because they both played the same. A striker that played off the left, But this guy's got some more power about him.
I can feel late riders are already getting tingly about 7.5.
Oh, yeah. And rightly so, mate. I like him.
Yeah.
If they bring Reece James
Nkunku's in, Wilson's in, Jesus is in, and Haaland's in.
I'm quite happy on these to wait to game week 3.
Fair enough.
I'm quite happy to let those first 2 games go.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Because Liverpool don't concede.
Exactly. And West Ham away are... yeah. We'll see.
Cool. Right. Let's say we're hour and 10 minutes.
Who else we got? We got anyone else?
We haven't got the teams, but we've got from the rest. So we've got all the. Is there anyone here that's taking your fancy at all? This is the Burnley slide, really, because I've got Muric and Brownhill, fan favourite from 2 years ago. Not a 4.5 anymore, though.
I don't even know half the players were some of the ones promoted guys. I am not clued up on them. All I know is the promoted guys. the strikers, the talismanic strikers, are not as talismanic as previous seasons. That's what I know. You know, we had some really fortunately talismanic, the Mitros, the Solankis, Bamfords before it. These guys have been Pookies before that, where these people are coming up and they're like 40 goal strikers that end up getting like 20, 25.
It's only been Mitrovic has been 40, isn't it?
Nah, like, or
Solanke
even
was like 35, wasn't he?
but it was kind of up there on the XG at least. So they were full on talisman big boys. What we, so I can't see myself taking a chance on any of them other than maybe that 4.0 Luton fodder defender, because we need one. Boomo, I think, is really interesting because he's a midfielder.
Who else is going to play up front? Wissa?
Well, he won't play. I think there's no chance that Boomo plays up front. I'm going to put that out there now as my big claim. I don't see any reason that they move. You've lost Tony, but we spent a whole season telling people that Tony doesn't play as a number 9, that he plays in really unconventional ways. He goes all over the place and he does weird things. Whenever Tony was out, yes, Visser would be the man that stretched, but Boomo's a all-round player. He can do everything. He plays off the wing. What's fantastic about him is he's a really good player. He takes set pieces. He now will probably take more set pieces in that you'd think he's on pens.
Maybe. I don't know.
And therefore, I would still expect that Visser, in their current signings, is that they'll play Visser, Sharda, and Boomo as a free.
Yeah.
And it'll be very interchangeable because it was very interchangeable already. There were times last season where Visser peels left or Sharda come in. When Sharda came in on the right, Boomo started moving left. They're just a very versatile team. So I don't buy this suddenly we've got a number 9 talisman, because he's not built like to be a number 9 talisman. They're built to be a versatile free, and they're quick. And I think that he is what I do think is that hopefully, when I hear comments for it, that he thinks my mate's out, I'm going to be the boy that carries the mantle for this team, and he stands up for it. But I don't think there's a change of position out and out for Boomo in this, mainly because I don't think Tony had a position.
Fair enough.
Whereas like Kane to Son is like, that's definite. Yes, he definitely moves into that position because that's where he kind of wants to play. I don't think Boomo wants to be the number 9. That's how my feelings with it. I don't think Frank kind of wants him that way. They play in a fluent way. He'll do what he does. He was a great option regardless at 6.5. So he's still a really good option, but he might have pens.
I mean, he took the only pen that Tony didn't take last year.
So you got to assume, haven't you? Whether I want him or not. What about Eze and Gibbs White?
I mean,
any interest?
Not really. I mean, I want to see how Palace play before we get anything. To be honest, on Palace, Forest, I've got no interest. Why would you have it? Why would you bother?
No, and I'm that way on a lot of these teams. If I'm honest, I'm like, why would I bother? The pricing looks in a space where, why would I take chances on brand new to the league players unless I was absolutely sure on them, like a Haaland was? Why would I bother with teams I don't massively rate? That's my Eze issue, because what's ticking away as me is they're like a 1xG team, but no Zaha. He got over 150 points last season, and he hardly played, really, in terms of minutes. He didn't play enough minutes for you to start going, oh wow, like he got him like because of how Bruno did. I mean, pound for pound, he's outdone Bruno. But he done all right. Like he still played. Don't get me wrong, he played in every game, but it just lots of them were off the bench.
Yeah, that was Vieira, wasn't it?
Yeah, but under Roy, he was the talisman. Zaha is now gone, so he's on direct free kicks. He's on corners. Well, sharing them with Elise, the same thing on both of those things. and he's on pens. And if he scores, it's like a guaranteed 11-point goal because they hardly ever keep a clean sheet. His baseline's fantastic. So he doesn't really have defenders to play up against in terms of things. Edouard's the only real striker there. So he's almost always, every time he scores, going to get 10, 11 points. He could get 10 points. He could get free bonus off an assist.
I don't know.
It's just Eze. It's just Palace.
It's just Palace.
Midfielder. Do I really want it?
It's like I felt comfortable last year looking at Rashford at 6.5, thinking I can spend that money there. When Brighton was smashing 2+ XG, I was like, I can spend 5.5, 6 million on a midfielder there. Like Palace, just I don't know. I just can't get excited about Palace. And I thought Hodgson had left. I thought he only came in for like the second half of the season. He's still there. Interested to see what happens there. I don't know whether he just stays on. But
at Forest, the only one, Taiwo, massively appealed. And if they get Nacho,
yeah,
I saw some reports earlier that Taiwo in Germany for Union was much better in a 2. Like he really prefers to play in a 2. So they could have they could have the whole Nigerian front line. So they'll have Nacho, Dennis, and Taiwo.
Yeah,
it's amazing. Like I was saying to our friend Ivan the other day, it's like the throwback to the old Ajax team with Carnu and Finidi George. It's like you've not seen that many Super Eagles in a team. It's it'd be brilliant. Yeah. And that looks like it's happening. 8 million for Nacho. You don't know what price is going to be yet.
He'd have to be lower in a Forest team than he was in a Leicester team that just finished outside of Europe the season before they were priced up.
Get a 5.5 million Nacho again.
Well, I don't think you get 5.5. I think Taiwo will be the benchmark, so I think he'll be 6.5 alongside him.
Brennan Johnson's 6.0.
Yeah, and on pens, right? So.
So I mean, how do they play all these strikers?
Yeah, I was going to say, where do they all play?
Yeah, you just let that stuff play out. We ain't getting there.
Yeah, and then there's nothing.
Ollie,
good, but probably better options.
Fixtures just not there for me. Yeah. They're fixtures at some point will go there to a place where you're like, Ollie just makes great sense and it's solid. Ollie post wildcard also makes a lot of sense. As you said, you're going to need to go 20 odd weeks. Picking your glue guys. That's the benefit of going a little later on wildcard is going, right, okay, I've had my fun. Now I'm going to have some glue guys and play for 15, 20 weeks.
But he's also a Europe guy, though. Whereas you think like an Nkunku is not a Europe guy next season. And remember what one of our biggest lessons were, and I'll find the short that says we have to remember about the teams that aren't playing in Europe that are good teams. So we'll see that in the first 3 or 4 weeks of who those good teams are going to be. Now, we would expect them to be Tottenham and Chelsea. We just would. But there could be another team in there that crops up, and that's where the glue comes from, because it's 1 game a week.
Well, we don't have to worry about that, for the way. We've got 5-6 weeks. Game weeks are fun, but I can't see anybody on this screen starting my team. You quite liked the Sheffield United defender, didn't you? What? Pronounce it for me?
Yeah, you've got me to say his name now, but it's something like Ahmed Dodzic or something like that. 4.5 million, 11 goals and assists, 11 goals/assists last season. Highest as a defender for Sheffield United. 5th highest in the whole squad.
The new Lundstrom, the new Stuart Dallas.
Maybe.
Mate, their fixtures, I ain't going nowhere near them.
Their fixtures are just bad all season because they're Sheffield United. The same with Luton.
That is that.
There is that. Fixtures is just a sea of red on the ticker.
What would we have done if there was more than 20 odd leaks today? We'd have been stuffed. Would have been here all night.
Well, yeah, because we do like to talk for quite a long time. We'd have had to split it up. We would have done, which would have pissed off the wives even more, I think. But
yeah, we better get back to them.
So. Yes, there is a nice little thing, like a little animation just above us. If you do like what we do, then please hit the like button. That would be fantastic. And if you want to see us, point that way. And if you want to see us more this season, then make sure you hit subscribe. Thank you for joining us today. We want to get to 5,000 subs before the season starts. That would be amazing if we could get there. So if you do like our content, please share it around. And as Baker said, we're going to be doing a podcast on Salah in the next few days, and that'll be coming out close to the end of this week. We've also got planned preseason podcasts with Rich Clark. We have got one, as I say, planned with the Extra Inch Boys on Tottenham. I'm sure we're going to be speaking to, who else have we got locked in already?
All our friends.
Praz.
All of our lovely friends.
Sertout. I think I don't know whether we even asked Sertout. Sertout, do you want to come and talk to us? And many others. And we want to do stuff focused around teams as well. So I guess we'll get Late Riser on, talk about United, Zoff, Chelsea, and any others as well. But once again, thank you to obviously Crypto Blockdown for supporting us again this season. Thank you very much. And to Dan, who did the graphics for us. So his details are in the description of the video below if you want to get some really cool graphics. And
we're good.
We're good. Number 1 done. We're good. I hope everyone stayed tuned for the outro.
Get it going, mate.
See you later.